Okay, so actually last time we talked about multiple offer competition, right? So today we're gonna talk about one-on-one because one-on-one offer presentation negotiation can go on for uh, 1 day, 2 day, even I heard from an agent, it's been ongoing for 6 months or more, right? So offer one-on-one is a lot of time, energy, and patience involved. So you just have to know what you want, what your goal, and what your client needs, right? So first, the goal for offer negotiation, of course, is to protect your client. So our clients is always the first priority. And number two is close the deal. Okay, close deal is not number one. Protecting your client is always number one. And number three is find out other side's motivation. And number four is to find out what you can give and take. And number five is collaboration, of course, with other agents. Number six is win-win, but it's gonna be win-win, win-win, right? Buyer, seller, agent. You can't see the screen. Anybody else cannot see my screen? If everybody else can see the screen, you can type in the chat, type 1 in the chat, so I know you can see the screen. Okay, the screen is black for BJ. You probably have to restart. Okay, you probably have to restart. Because other people can see it, that's probably your computer, some settings not correct. Okay, so change here, win, win. So everybody wins, right? So in an offer negotiation presentation, we're not trying to beat up somebody, right? We're not trying to destroy someone. Okay, so Ada says, no, I cannot see it too. Okay, that's very strange. If you cannot see it, how many people cannot see the screen? Can you type 2 if you cannot see the screen? And if you can see the screen, please type 1. Okay, so a lot of people cannot see it. Let me try restart again. Okay, how's that, everybody? Can we all see the screen now? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, now we're back. Okay, so goal is to protect your client, close the deal, find other side motivation, and find out what you can give and take, and collaborate with other agent, and finally win, 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 win. Okay, so we're back to the slide here. So the offer can be very, very long negotiation or can be very short. So the offer presentation normally involves either in-person presentation or by email. But I think a lot of the times we're doing by email now, right? Because the COVID, not a lot of people want to meet you to risk getting the virus. So everybody's doing phone conversation and email conversation. So when we do email conversation, first of all, you have to send a CMA comparable showing the buyer showing the seller why you give them this offer. The offer has to be reasonable, right? But I've seen people talk to me, say, hey, my clients are investor. They're not gonna give you any a reasonable offer. They just want to pick up something cheap in the market. So I'll just send you an offer that's lowball. If they don't take it, that's fine. We're just looking for some motivated seller. You'll see people like that. But you just gotta, if you're working with a serious buyer, you just gotta show the seller your comparable of the market, showing that your offer is reasonable, right? You're trying to grind them down because their house maybe not renovated nice enough. Maybe they have a big tree in the backyard. You have to do some show CMA, detailed CMA. But if you're doing in person, in case you're doing offer in person, that's totally different, right? Because you have to show up dressed professionally. And when you talk to them, it has to be polite and show your sincerity. Okay. Have to be respectful of their home, right? And talk about your client and even bring a letter from your client and maybe read it to them or ask them to read about it. Because sometimes, especially in a busy market, a letter to the owner from the buyer works very well because a lot of times the sellers are very emotionally attached to their home, right? If you talk about how much you love the home, how you're going to take care of the home, it's going to help you to negotiate. Because sometimes seller may not be very, very picky on the price, but they're more picky on the buyer who's going to buy and take care of the home. And since you're meeting the seller directly, you can ask him some questions, but do not ask stupid question that the seller's agent is on the side, right? They're going to stop you and probably ask you out. So also show them a CMA and explain to them why you offer this price. So you're not offending the seller, right? You're not presenting a lowball offer in person. Do not do that because you're gonna be kicked out. Okay, so if you're gonna place a lowball offer, probably do it by email. Don't see the person. Okay. So next is you have to find out the reasons for people buying or selling. Either you're on the listing side or you're on the buyer side, right? If you find their reasons for selling or buying, this will help you to negotiate a deal. Like not necessarily negotiate going down the price, but structure the offer uh, to what the both side needs, right? For example, sometimes you need time, sometimes you need um, repair, sometimes you need a little bit off on the price, or sometimes you need a renovation allowance, etc. So the reasons for selling and buying, there may be their kids' education, they want to get into the neighborhood, or they want to move to a better neighborhood. And number two is estate sale, right? From parents who passed away and they have to sell their estate. And number three is foreclosure. They don't have money to pay for it. In this case, you can offer them, money, but below market. Probably they will take it. Instead of foreclosure, they can sell it for cheap. And sometimes people are upsizing or downsizing. And purely investment for investors, everybody is looking at the numbers, right? If they don't get a good number, they're gonna just walk away. They won't just go purchase. Or you're meeting an investor who want to sell their property, and this investor may need money, right? They want to sell, make a quick sell. So if you know your seller is an investor who needs money, then you probably can get a better deal. And upgrading, relocation from Alberta, from Montreal. I see a lot of people coming over to BC from East Coast. So relocation, right, from the buyer side relocation. And number nine, close to work or school. So they are moving again because their work or their school. So if you know this neighborhood has only probably 2 3 houses that's similar to yours and they really like the school, and that's the reason probably you can um, stick stick around and just hanging there on your price. They probably just want this house only, right? You just have to find out why they're buying, why they're selling, and asking questions that they will answer, right? Don't ask some question they won't answer. That's not gonna work. And you have to deal with the buyer's concern if you're the buyer's agent, right? If the buyer has too many concerns, they're not gonna remove the subject or they're not gonna place an offer. So the buyer's concern may be, did I pay too much, right? You have to show them and educate them along the way how much is reasonable, how much is too much, right? Did I sell too much? So number two is the price going to drop more, right? You got to educate your client about the market trend. Is the market going up or is the market going down? In today's market, Langley, Maple Ridge, or even Richmond, Burnaby, everywhere, the market is kind of going up. And especially in Maple Ridge and Langley, the multiple offers, anything around $1 million multiple offer, right? In Surrey, in Richmond is under 1.5 million, you probably get into multiple offers. So you just have to educate them how fast the market is going. What is the trend? Is it going up or going down? And number three, am I going to make it for the completion date, right? They may be sold their home, right? They sold their home with you and now they're buying another one with you. So is the one they buying going to be complete in time to match the one they sold, right? They don't want to move into a rental house for a month and then move again to the one they purchased. They trying to match the completion date and possession date. So number four, will I get my down payment on time, right? That's the completion. So you won't get money until you complete the one you sold. So when you structure the buy and sell together, you have to know when your clients getting the money, when do they have enough down payment or do they even have enough deposit to pay to purchase their home? Is the price going to be within my budget? So this question you would have to ask them for a mortgage statement. You have to find out how much mortgage they have left on the house, right? And how much debt they have to pay after they sold the house. So you kind of have to know how to calculate the sales proceed when you're selling the home for your buyer, right? So after calculation, you know how much they have in cash for down payment. And you also have to work with the mortgage agent and find out how much mortgage they can get after sold their property, right? And then you will be able to find out their budget. So it's series of calculations, math calculation, not very difficult, very simple. So just find out before you sell your client's house how much mortgage they have and how after they sold, what's their budget on getting the new house. Okay, otherwise they're gonna sell their house and end up nowhere to live. They have to rent. And number six, is this a good neighborhood? And how are the neighbors here? Right? People are worried about neighborhood and neighbors. So this, you probably have to ask your client to drive around the neighborhoods they like and see if there's a neighbor outside mowing the lawn and talk to the neighbors and ask neighbors about the neighborhood, right? Just have to do some homework. And number seven, is there any risk of buying this property, right? So the risks maybe financing, maybe inspection, maybe oil tank, maybe many things. So you will have to help your client to reduce the risk. Okay. Okay, let me. Okay, someone's microphone was on, so that's taking care of. Okay. Now, what are the what are the cost of living in this property? Sometimes people are worried about cost of living, right? Maybe they're moving from Surrey to Vancouver. The property tax may be higher. The other stuff, or they moving into a condo insurance and the condo strata management fee and condo whatever, right? So you kind of have to let people know how much expense they're gonna have if they have this concern. And schools, education is always number one thing for small family, right? Or new family. Their kids going to school. Are the schools are good? So we can find out school information. Just type in Google Vancouver or BC school ranking. You will find a website from Fraser Education. They have a rank for all schools in Vancouver. So that website, if you don't know, just type in Google, find it, school ranking BC. You'll be able to see a website like that, and you'll see which schools are good in this neighborhood. All you do is type in the school, right? So if you want to find out what's the school catchment, you can also Google and type in, for example, Vancouver school locator, right? Type in school locator plus a city name, Vancouver school locator or Richmond school locator or Coquitlam school locator. So after you open the website, they ask you to enter the address. So once you enter the address, they will be able to tell you what is the school catchment for this house. Number 10 is this the best property on the market, right? So again, you just have to communicate and educate with your client. What is the best property, right? There's no really best property. If everything's the best, the price will be very, very high, right? What works within your budget and what works with your most desirable criteria are the best property on the market, right? You just have to communicate more with your client. Am I getting the best deal, right? So this is most buyers thinking, am I getting the best deal? But sometimes, you just have to sacrifice a little bit here, a little bit there. There's no such thing of best deal because every day the market changes. It may be the best deal this moment. Next day, the market may go down. There may be another house come to the market, or maybe the market goes up. There's no such thing as best deal. So you just have to educate your client about the current market trend, current market price, and the reality, right? So there's a lot of things you have to work with your buyer before, or during the offer negotiation. Okay, for seller is this very, very similar. Seller is like, you know, um, am I getting a good price, right? And is the market going up? Am I losing out? Am I sold too cheap? Um, am I gonna make it for the completion day for the one I just purchased? And sometimes seller go out buy a house, and they come back and sell their house. They buy first and they sell. So the completion date may be very important to them. They want to match the completion date. And also, is the date too rushed for me to move out? Do I have enough time to move, right? They may be working every day. They don't have time to pack. Maybe you have to find them a company who can help them packing and moving, right? Even a storage space to put their stuff away while they're selling their home. And where can I buy my next home? Maybe they haven't bought yet, right? They're concerning before they take this offer. If I take this offer, where can I buy my next home? And am I able to find a home like in 3 months after I sold, right? So there's a lot of concerns. People are scared, especially in a fast market. Well, the buyer going to take care of my house, like I said. Sometimes people are very emotionally about their house, the garden. It's like if you don't take care of it, they'll be very mad or sad, at least, right? So they're thinking, who's the best buyer gonna take care of their property or their garden? So those are all the things as a listing agent, as the buyer agent, you have to consider when you're negotiating and presenting an offer. So during offer presentation, the listing agent, there's some task, right? You when you have offer in your hand, you have to show. Hold on, let me turn off somebody's microphone here. Okay. Okay, done. Okay, so offer presentation, right? You have to explain to your client the offer content. So when you don't have offer, when you have an hour, read a CPS from top to bottom, right? I have a video talk to you about the contract. So watch my video on the YouTube channel. So you can explain the contract detailedly to your client. So the things you gotta explain to your client are mostly terms, price, the advantage and disadvantage of this offer. The terms may be subject, right? The subject to financing, subject to oil tank, subject to inspection, subject to many things. And also the subject removal date. Are they too long, or are the price too low? Or what's the advantage of this completion day and disadvantage of taking this offer in this market? Everything. So you have to talk to your client about many things, discuss about many things before they can make a proper decision, and control the emotions, right? Sometimes when you receive a lowball offer, you still have to present your offer. If you don't present your offer, and that could be a very, very big risk for you. So you have to present the offer no matter, right? You have to present offer in person or sometimes not in person, right? Sometimes it's verbally. If it's too low, probably just present it verbally. And if it's a good offer, try to present it in person. And talk about offer and control their emotions. Sometimes when they see a lowball offer or they see an offer term that's very strange to them, they may not be happy and they're under a lot of stress, right? And you just have to control their emotions. When people are under stress, they cannot make a decision properly. And if they make a decision that they didn't mean to, at the end, it's going to be more problem to the listing agent, right? Or the buyer's agent. So do not push people to make wrong decision. Otherwise, you're going to be end up in litigation. And then you have to give the seller some suggestions, right? Option A, option B, option C, and help them to make a proper decision. And then finally, make a counter offer or accept the offer. Okay, but do not put your own emotion into it. Do not put your own emotion into it. Your job is to control the emotion of both sides and control the negotiation process. And this is not your house, not your decision. It's not for you. You have to think what's best for your client. Okay, even though sometimes we see a lot of buyer agent or listing agent that's very rude, but you still have to control your emotion and get the deal done. Steps. Number one, you gotta explain the offer in detail. Sometimes people do not make a decision or scared of make a decision if they don't understand something in the contract, right? Sometimes people will say, I'll sleep on it. I'll think about it. I'll talk to my lawyer. I'll talk to my wife. I'll talk to my husband, right? That means they're not comfortable with the contract, with the offer, because there may be something they don't understand. There may be something they need other people to help them to make a decision, right? If they're not fully understand. So number one is that you have to explain to them in detail about the price, date, term, and what their motivation. And you have to mention to them what their motivations are. Think it's a good offer or not, right? Do you think it's a good offer or not? And ask your client floor price, like what's the bottom price um, you're willing to take. Of course, we're gonna negotiate the best possible price for you. And why is this price? Sometimes people give you ridiculous price, and you have to ask them why. How did this price come to your head, right? Not like I just want this price. Yeah, there got to be a reason behind it. I must have this price in order to buy the house I want to buy, right? I must have this price because I cannot get um, enough mortgage anymore, right? I am getting less mortgage than before. That's why I have to sell this price. Otherwise, I cannot buy my next home. What will you do with the money after you sold this property, right? You can ask them what they're gonna do with the money, and how important is this reason to you. Like how important is it for you to sell the home in 3 months? How important to you is that you move from Richmond to Vancouver, right? How important that to you? That's their motivation. And use clients motivation to help them make decisions. Sometimes people are just stressed and scared, they cannot make a proper decision. You just have to remind them why they're doing this. They're doing this to have their kids in a better school catchment, or they sell this home so they can relocate to Alberta for a better job opportunity, right? So you just have to remember, help them to remember why they're selling their home, and use CMA to help them make proper decision, right? A CMA shows them if they're making the right decision. Because without data, without CMA, without the market trend information, people don't know if they're making the right decision. Okay. Next one, negotiation. So the task, of course, is to agree on the price, the term, and the date, right? Sometimes um, I encounter some listing agent. They act like the house belonged to them, but actually not. And they treat buyer agent as enemy, right? They treat buyer agent like you're stealing from them or something, right? So do not treat other agent like your enemy. They're your colleague, you're collaborating on negotiation, right? You're not against each other, although you're acting on your client's best interest, but you're trying to make the deal work for your client at the same time, right? So do not make enemy, because in this market, you never know when your client's gonna buy something that what the house listed by some agent you hate or you don't like. You just have to be friend with everybody so you don't encounter that kind of situation. The market is very small, right? So you don't want to make some enemy in your neighborhood. Negotiation. Okay, so education, comparable education. I mean, educate your client. Okay, buyer client and seller client. Educate them about comparables, the sold, the active listing, the competition, the market trend. Is it going up or going down? The availabilities. The one they want to buy, right? In this neighborhood, there may not be many choices, and when you want to sell. If the availability is low, then you can sell a good price. If there's many competition in your neighborhood, then you cannot sell a super high price. And renovation and upgrades, compare with other house that's sold on the market. And repairs, if there's any repair need to be done before they put on the market. And talk to them about the date, completion date. What's the best date for them? And talk about the price. If they have ridiculous price, you have to educate them again from comparable, market trend, availability, upgrades, everything. So answer their concerns, right? Losing money, not best price, and date doesn't work. You just have to figure out all those concerns before you have an offer, right? If you handle those concerns well, then your offer negotiation will be smooth. And motivation. What's most important to them? The price or the date? Why you want to purchase or sell, the motivation, right? Kids going to school, etc. When do you have to move, right? That's most important on the motivation part. When do you have to move, right? Some people say, oh, it's my investment. I don't have to move. It's tenanted, right? So that means they don't have much motivation. And I don't have to sell because I don't need the money right away. I just want to sell a good price, right? You know, the motivation is very, very low. So you just have to find whoever loves home and pays the best price. And sometimes people say, I have to sell in 3 months because I'm going to Toronto or going to Montreal, right? I got a job there. I have to sell in 3 months. Then you have to do a different strategy for negotiation. And there's some negotiation skills, like for putting pressure on the other agent. Sometimes you got to do that, right? Sometimes they're very slow. Sometimes they're not very good at making decisions. Sometimes they're trying to grind you down on price. You know, put some pressure on the other agent. You can say, as a listing agent, I have another party coming to see the home. You know, for the third time, they're gonna probably place an offer after that. And as a buyer's agent, of course, you can say the same thing. There's another home that my buyer like. If this one doesn't work, I'll take him to write another offer on a different house, right? So those are some psychology thing that you can read about, you know, go Audible or some other bookstore, online bookstore, buy a book about psychology or selling skill. That I won't go too detail, that like a whole book or 10 book, 20 book about selling skill or sales skills, right? Psychology, stuff like that. You got to read about and learn about and try to make a friend with other agent. So when they're feeling that you're comfortable to deal with, they probably will share more information and it's easier to collaborate with. And number three, sometimes is be tough, right? You know, sometimes, you know, people are, if you sometimes you really saw the have those people that are very, very unprofessional, very, very unprofessional. They don't know what they're doing. Sometimes you just have to be tough, right? Like don't bother if you write an offer below 1 million. Just wasting your time. Tell them straight up, right? Not be rude, but be tough, right? Just tell them it's not going to work. If you know your client well, right? Just tell them straight. And we're not giving second chance for multiple offer if you're dealing with multiple offer, right? Just tell people we're going to choose the best offer on the first round. So don't call me afterwards saying, oh, we can increase 10, 20,000, right? And sometimes just say no, right? Sometimes people just ask you ridiculous questions or requirement. Just tell them no, right? Easy, simple enough. And also trade. So in negotiation, you got to know how to trade for benefit. You can trade money for date, trade date for money, or cash offer for money, right? If you have cash offer, you can lower the price. If you have pay them better money, maybe they can have a longer completion day, or shorter completion day. And also you're giving out a longer completion day for more money, right? So it's all about trade negotiation. Cash offer is always the best offer to give, no subject, and cash offer are a little bit different. Cash offer can have some subject to finance, subject to inspection, subject to oil tank, subject to some other stuff, but they don't have subject to financing. So that's cash offer, right? No subject to financing. But no subject offer means there's nothing, no subject at all, right? But they have some condition, term condition, that's fine, but no subject, right? They get you sold right away. And as a buyer's agent, similar to seller's agent, when you're negotiating, presenting your offer, don't put yourself in the emotion. You just have to help your buyer to realize what's a good deal, what's a good price, their motivation, stuff like that. Very, very similar to the seller, except they have different purpose, right? Different selling price, different motivation, different reason to move. And ask question, buyer agent, what is your client's best price? Well, I can't really tell you. You can't really tell people your client's best price, right? So you got to know that. And can you close at this price? If not, we're wasting time. Well, this question is kind of tricky because I cannot tell you if I can close at this price, but I can tell you I can try and work on it. So email me your offer. I will see what I can do, right? So you can tell people that. And number three, I'm writing offer at this price and termed like this. What do you think, right? Sometimes it's best that you negotiate or talk about the offer before you even present the offer, right? You're getting an idea from the other agent how this offer will go. If they tell you, hey, it's wasting time, right? Then you don't have to write about it. You don't have to waste your time writing the offer. And we can only give you this price. Is there anything you can do to close the deal, right? That's another way of asking question. But as a listing agent, they won't give you the price. But if the price is negotiable, it's within the range of negotiation, they will ask you to present the offer, right? Don't shut them down. As a listing agent, never shut down an offer unless it's really, really low, ridiculous. Always, because you never know what your clients are thinking. You just have to present the offer professionally. And number five, do they need quick closing? You have to find out their motivation. How fast do they want to close? That means they need money, right? If they want a really, really quick closing, they may need money. But sometimes they need a longer completion day. They have to buy another home after sold. So that part, you can negotiate some on the price, right? What is the seller's preferred date, complete on position? Completion and position date that you must have when you're dealing with multiple offer, right? Ask the question about the date always. And do they need rent back, right? That's another good question to ask if you're the buyer's agent. Do they need rent back? So that's something that you can put on your offer so people can read about the offer and beat other competitions. Okay, so let me see. Chat. Okay, isn't the rent back risky? So that's a very good question. Rent back could be a little bit risk, right? There's always a risk when you're dealing with the tenant because that's how you have to structure your contract. When you structure the contract about the rent back, you have to know that you should be a bit flexible. You're not very, very tough or strict on the completion date that you have to move in, right? So if you're offering rent back, that means you're not very strict on the date. Even the people living there, they may not move out on the day on the contract you structured. You're not like in a bad position, right? So if you must move in on certain day, please do not offer rent back, right? If you have somewhere to live, then it's okay to offer rent back. It's a way to beat other competition. So you have to control and know about your client. So when you're offering stuff, right, you know your client. Paperwork, any change on the CPS must be initialed by both parties. Make sure of that. Otherwise, your contract may not be binding. And offer open date must be later or same as the offer acceptance date. So which means you cannot accept the offer when the offer is expired. Okay. The offer cannot be accepted if it's expired. Another thing is there's direction of offer presentation on the web form that you can use if you're dealing with multiple offers. So today we're a one-on-one offer. We don't need that form, but make sure your offer open date is not expired when you're accepting the offer. Sometimes you're negotiating back and forth, but at the last day, you have to always check if the offer is expired or not. If it's expired, extend it and then accept it, right? You cannot accept the offer that's expired. You have to put a new offer in if situation like that. So we have another topic we're going to talk about today is very simple. It's called file organization. Okay, we got a question here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so there's a question regarding disclosure of interest in trade and disclosure of net proceed to be done. Okay, so remember, all disclosures must be made before the offer presentation. If you're signing a disclosure of interest in trade and your offer date is January 1st and your disclosure, all disclosures must be at least January 1st or prior, okay? And also, there's a disclosure to seller for expected commission. There's a form for the listing agent, disclosure of expected remuneration to seller. So that is whenever you have a counter offer or incoming offer, you have to tell the client if they take this offer, how much commission they have to pay. So that's for the net proceed is that when you getting an offer in, when you got an offer in hand, when you have an incoming offer, that's only time when you do it. Sometimes when you counter back and forth, you may have 2 or 3 incoming offers. So you have to have those commission calculated each time for the client to make a decision. So for all other disclosures, disclosure interest in trade, disclosure privacy, disclosure trading agency, whatever disclosure must be made before the offer or on the same day or even before the offer, right? They cannot be dated after the offer date. Okay, I am going to make a switch here. The computer is a bit slow today with Zoom. Okay, so. Okay, gonna share screen here. Okay. So file organization, everybody can see this one, right? So the second topic would be file organization. The goal for organizing your files is to save you storage space, right? You probably have a lot of a cabinet at home or at your office for all those paper files. So everybody knows how to use a cell phone now, use a copy and printer and scanner, right? So when you have a file, just scan it to your computer and save it in your computer, right? So this way you won't have to keep so much paper trail, and it's easy to find it when you need it. So just do a search and then you can find your file within a minute. And to keep your files safe and organized, because you may have 10 cabinets and you don't know where you put that file. It takes a long time for you to go through them when you need them. So that's why I'm telling you that you need these tools, Cloud Drive. Cloud Drive means something on the internet. It's a drive that you save, like Dropbox. It's recommended. Dropbox, Google Drive, and there's like a Microsoft Drive One, and I would recommend Dropbox and also Cloud Mirror hard drive. Cloud Mirror hard drive is a hard drive uh, making two copies of backup, and then they can automatically back up Dropbox information, and also they're privately owned by you. And also there are other cloud drive providers, okay? So cloud drive looks like this. It's not too expensive. For the 4 TB, it's about $400, $500, and 2 TB is about $200 or so. And depending how much stuff you have to back up. They're very small. They can just put beside your router and connect to the internet. And then you use your computer to set up, and they will automatically back up your computer and also automatically back up your Google Drive or your Dropbox drive. So it's very useful, and they make 2 copy of everything. So when you lose 1 copy, you still have 2 copies. And Dropbox. So if you have a Gmail, right, just go to dropbox.com, whatever, and you can log in with your Gmail account. It's very simple. So once you go in, you just create a folder. So when you create a folder, you can name the folder real estate. And then under real estate, you can make another folder called client transactions. And then under client transactions, you can make multiple folders like buyer residential, seller residential, buyer pre-sale, or buyer commercial, right? Make different categories. That's how I do it. And then under this folder, you open another folder saying client name, for example, Charles, right? And then under Charles, there may be different transactions for pre-sale. Maybe he bought many pre-sales, right? So different project and or the address. So make another folder for the property, for the address or the project name. And then you put all the CPS, subject removal, disclosure statement, everything into this folder. So when you need this, all you have to do is you either search the client name or search the address, and then you will find the files you need, right? You can search this one on your cell phone, on your computer, anywhere. Once you have a Wi-Fi or internet, you can find your file right away. When your client call you and say, hey, Charles, can you find me that pre-sale contract 3 years ago because my completion is coming up. I need to send it to my lawyer. You don't have to contact the developer or marketing company. You can just open your Dropbox and forward them the link, and then they will be able to have everything. So it's very, very easy. Okay, how to dispose the original paper file after scanning? Is there any rules by the board? Well, the the stuff you're going to dispose, right? As long as there's no private information, for example, client's birthday, C number, or driver license number. Otherwise, if you have sensitive information, you have to shred them, right? Just to be safe. Um, the shredder is about $20 to $40 in Costco. Just buy a shredder. Just shred everything that has a sensitive information on it, right? So even for your CRA stuff, for your tax stuff, you can also put it in the Dropbox and send a link to your accountant. It's very, very convenient. You can keep all your bookkeeping, keep all your receipt, keep all your tax stuff, and just send your accountant a link so they can download the stuff that you have, right? So every time you can take a picture and upload it to your 2020 invoice, right? So just create a folder named 2020 Realtor invoice. And then every time you have a copy of the receipt or invoice, just take a photo, upload it, and then you will not lose it. So it's very, very simple to use. If you have problem using it, let me know. I will help you to start. Okay, so that's everything for today. If you have any question, you're welcome to turn your microphone on, and you can text in the chat, or even you can call me afterwards. So if there's no question, then that'll be all for today. Don't forget to register on your daily email for today's course. And there are other topics on my YouTube channel that you can find, and just call me. CMA session. Okay. I have a CMA video on my YouTube channel. Just go to my YouTube, search Vancouver Real Estate Knowledge, and search for the word CMA. And then you will find a CMA video that I did a while ago. Okay, CMA, that's very important. Go watch it. Okay, everybody, have a good day.